Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
We're going to talk about Disney's investor call. It was kind of a nothing burger, right?
Yeah, it really was. There's a couple things that were kind of new, but everything else was just, hey, did we mention that we're the best at sequels, cruise ships? Yeah, give us money. Hooray.
Coco 2.
Yeah.
Why the hell are we doing Coco 2? And it's not coming out until 2029.
Yeah, because that's all they do is sequels. And in this investor call, they're going on about their creativity, et cetera, et cetera. I kept repeating it. And then all the stuff they were announcing was either stuff for Marvel or it was sequels.
Yeah. And that's just it. Like, it was so weird. And then we're going to talk about, Bob Iger said AI is the future of Disney. It's like, can AI come up with better ideas than you are? Because it seems like you guys are definitely not able to come up with original ideas anymore. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to our Substack, clownsfishtv.substack.com, sign up for notifications. You know the drill if you're not getting notified here on YouTube, because they don't do that very well anymore. And you were kind of live blogging this or live tweeting it as it happened. So walk
I did. So we'll go back through it because there was I won't say there's a lot, but there really wasn't.
No.
So they started out with, it's a Disney magic video, guys. Here's where we came from. Here's all the future projects and Fantastic Four and all this other stuff like razzle dazzle. We're the bestest. Nostalgia bait BS video leading into it. They do that all the time. And then they had, the initial talk about the guy that's the chairman of the board give a spiel, but it was mostly about the board. And then we have Iger, and he's going to talk about the Borg. And he's going on about, because Disney has an exceptional leadership team. It's like, yeah, you guys are doing great. And he goes on about the investors' asses, kissing their Disney, management butts. And then he's going to start talking about all the stuff, pre-recorded, of course, how they're going to have, they're going to Imagineering. He was at the Imagineering building, and here's where they're going to bring the best things to the parks. And they keep promoting those BDX droids they talked about before.
Yeah.
And they're using them in Mandalorian and Grogu. So they're going to put them in the parks.
And you can buy them, I'm sure.
Probably. But that's what they're doing. And then they got some deal with NVIDIA, which he didn't talk about with that, to make these droids. But here's the one new thing we did, guys. These droids. It's the one new thing that, is kind of inventive and cool, supposedly. And meanwhile, Epic Universe is coming at them with, flying dragons and, Frankensteins, monster, and stuff like that.
Well, Disney is Frankenstein together. It's just a whole bunch of different companies just kind of duct taped together at this point.
Then he went on about the theatrical. The last year, the theatrical restored the creativity. And I'm like, it's all, sequels. Like he was going on our box office last year. He's going, Coco 2. Because for every 2 sequels, they're going to do one new original. So he was saying about, Inside Out 2, Moana 2, Deadpool Wolverine, which they had nothing to do with really. And moving forward, Coco 2 is coming. Toy Story 5, Frozen 3. We have Elio coming in June. And actually, they put a new trailer out yesterday, and the response has been positive.
Yeah, I think people just want original movies, but it's hard now because, the stuff costs so much to make, and you can't really afford to drop $150-200 million into a movie and then have it flop at the box office.
No, and the thing is, people are actually kind of excited about this one. But I noticed in the discussion in the video and on X and social media, a lot of people, and they usually have animation avatars, so take that as you will, were using this as a way to be like, you need to go see this movie to show Disney you want original films, because otherwise we're going to get more sequels. Yeah. And that's what they're going to do. And even Iger said when their original stuff comes out, they're trying to look at it as if it could be turned into a sequel farm.
Yeah, that's it. They're not doing, obviously they're a for-profit company, right? They're not doing this out of the kindness of their hearts, but they're looking at this like, can we make more Elio movies? Can we do an Elio theme park thing? You know what I'm saying? So I think they greenlight this stuff now with that in mind. Like, is this going to be a franchise or not?
Yeah. And that's what they're, so other than Elio, it's all sequels and crap coming out. We're going to get Coco 3 or 2.
Well, no, I'm sure we'll get, how many times can Grandma Coco die?
I don't know. No, now he'll go back.
We'll bring her back and then we'll kill her again.
He'll go back to the spiritual world again, for some reason. He has to go get somebody from the spiritual world to help him with something. And they're going to push that. And they're probably getting Canto too. And anything that's successful, they're going to squeeze it to death. But people are showing up for it. So, of course, they're going to do this because their takeaway from Moana 2 and Inside Out 2 was more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they aren't making new originals. They're just going to keep using what good stuff they had. They talked about all their wins for the Oscars and stuff. And Shogun won a lot of awards. But Shogun deserved to win a lot of awards, to be fair. He's talking about how excited they are about Snow White. Audiences aren't. But,
Nobody's excited about Snow White. You're going to go see it today.
I am. I'm going to, right after this video, I'm going to go see it, and we'll do a video later telling you guys how it was. If it's good, I will say so. I will be honest about it. My hopes are very low, but then my bar is also very low, so it might seem good to me even if it isn't because the bar is so very low.
Yeah.
So they went on about, they give us an extended look at Lilo and Stitch.
Looks cute. That looks like a Disney movie.
It looks really good. And it's really even worse when you look at that and you compare it to Snow White.
Yeah, like this actually looks like literally a live action version of Lilo and Stitch. Kid's really cute.
I will go see Lilo and Stitch willingly. Yeah. I want to go see that. Yeah, I don't really want to go see Snow White, but I'm doing it anyway. They're talking about they mentioned created Coco 2. Oh, Alien Earth, which you knew about actually.
That's I'm kind of on the fence about that. That's the guy who did Fargo, I think, is doing that. But it's basically what if the aliens came to Earth, which they kind of teased in Alien Resurrection, which everybody forgot about. But I don't know. I mean, I don't even understand the alien timeline now. But Romulus was pretty okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
So from there, they went into the ESPN app promotion. They didn't really talk much about their streaming numbers. They mentioned it that Disney Plus is going to be a home base for all these buttons, but they never really said anything else.
If only someone could have foreseen that.
I know, right? You kept saying they should do that.
They were going to roll everything into one.
And they did. You thought they were going to do Hulu though, and then they went with Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one does parks better than Disney. They have more projects around the world: Cars, Tropical Americas, Monsters Inc., Villains Land, Avatar, Coco, blah blah blah.
Around the world, nobody can. Here's the thing: people want you to fix the U.S. parks. They don't want you to spend all your money on Shanghai and Hong Kong and Paris. They want you to fix the hometown parks because that's where you got your start, and you're forgetting all about Disney World and you're forgetting all about Disney.
Well, no, they're saying they're doing a lot in Florida and California too. But did we mention Disney Cruise Lines? 7 ships in development. My gosh, if you took a shot every time he tried to push the cruise lines, you'd be dead. It was like cruise lines. It's
easy money, right? You get them on a boat. You don't have to maintain rides. You might have like the aqueduct or something. And it's easy money. You charge them almost as much as it costs to go to the theme park, and you don't have all the maintenance and stuff.
No. And then they went on about Epic Games and their investment in that and how they're going to tie IP into gaming. And I guess later on he mentioned, I'll just talk about it now, that they want to make it a stop for, so you could stream Disney stuff there. You can play games there. You can create videos. They want a creator space at Epic Games too. So they kept talking about creator.
Okay, so I don't see... God, Disney keeps trying to get into like the creator space, the YouTube. So for those of you who don't know, they actually bought Maker Studios like 10 years ago. Maker Studios was the big YouTube collective, and they bought it thinking stupidly that they were going to basically buy all these YouTubers off. And it turned out that most of them were not brand safe, and that actually led to the apocalypse.
Well, one of the things that led to the apocalypse.
One of them, but it was a huge catalyst, and then that folded, and they spent like $500 million to buy nothing. I'm like, what are you buying? A bunch of YouTubers that react to video game content.
Yeah, and we were one of them.
Make Nazi jokes. We were. We actually had another channel back in the day. We were part of that deal, and that just completely imploded. That was weird. Being there was weird.
Then they went on about how, these are good things. They do a lot to support veterans. They're helping Make-A-Wish. They're volunteers. And Disney gave a bunch of money to the California where the fires ravaged. They are doing stuff for Children's Hospital. Those things, yes, that's great. Those are good things. And then they basically wrapped up his thing. And then they went to the proposals from shareholders. And of course, they voted them all down. The board recommended not. One was about saving employees' life savings from climate change because of BlackRock and burning down the rainforests and all this crap. And, Disney's investments are in fossil fuels, and they want Disney to pull them out. And Disney said vote no, and they voted no. And then the next one was they wanted Disney to stop participating in the Human Rights Campaign Corporate Equity Index that many companies have dropped out of. And that, they need to stop the DEI stuff, basically. Disney's board recommended, that voted no, and it got voted down. But the executive compensation package got voted,
I'm
through.
sure it did.
The third one they wanted to vote on, which was very interesting to me. Disney's asking for politically neutral advertising policies. They want political neutrality. They want everybody to be included. They should not have been part of the GARM situation we talked about before.
Wow.
And they talked about political sponsorship against Spotify and Daily Wire was by GARM, and Disney supported it. Elon Musk situation, but he was going against GARM, which GARM folded, didn't it?
Yeah, because of Elon Musk, he was going to sue him. Now Disney's back advertising on X after they made such a big deal about Elon Musk told Iger to go F himself.
But basically, they're like, political neutrality just benefits your investors, benefits your guests, benefits everyone. Of course, Disney recommended against it, and it voted against it. But they basically said that they are going to continue to be politically biased. Yeah,
I mean, that's like, come on, guys. Like, everybody else is walking this stuff back, and they're just like, no, we're totally good.
And from there, we got on to the, they went on about their sequels, so creative, all these sequels and about their ecosystem and why they're so special. And then he's asking about, he said he was going to deliver shareholder value across parks, resorts, cruise ships, and everything else. They're more efficient, which means they cut costs, they cut employees.
Yeah.
This is an overview real quick. He went on about how Disney's so cost effective for families because at Disneyland, they kept their lowest ticket price low. The same. And it's like, yes, but when you came back, you offered more of those, but now you don't. But that's why they're offering value, because at Disneyland. They don't mention what the value is at Disney World.
Oh, there is no value at Disney World. There's no value at Disneyland. Disneyland used to be more of a locals park. It was basically like a glorified Knott's Berry Farm with Mickey Mouse, and Disneyland was always cheaper because there wasn't as much there. But now it's creeping up to Walt Disney World prices.
Right, but they don't mention about Walt Disney World being expensive. He does mention later, which we're going to talk about questions. He was at Disney World and it was busy. Yes, because it's March and it's spring break.
Oh yeah, March is it's insane. We actually went down there one time in March, and we needed an extra night that we didn't have at the resorts on property, and we couldn't find a hotel room anywhere in Orlando.
Yeah, so this question was, when will the company return to magic and focus on kids and families? That was the question. And he's like, our primary mission is to entertain, and our successful films and shows and audience applaud our efforts. And we're about high quality entertainment. And they're talking about how they're going to expand the theme parks internationally, and then their cruise ships and lots of cruise ship discussion. They're talking about, they just go on about how they give plenty of magic because their prices are better or on par with sporting events. That's what he said.
Okay.
So I was like, God, what's that even mean? But all the questions, of course, were pre-recorded.
Yes, of course they were. They won't open themselves up to that again because they had off-the-cuff questions before and they choked.
Yeah, and that's what he said, that they pretty much made Florida. Go back up or go up here so you can look at some more stuff. They talk about the Epic Games spending, and they said they don't have a release date for that. But that's what I said about the streaming. And then they asked how Disney's using AI in the parks. And they said, we value human creativity, but tools are important, and AI is the most powerful tech the company has seen. It's enabling our company to be more efficient, but they're doing three things. One, they have to make sure their IP is protected first and foremost.
Yes.
Two, the creators are being respected, whatever the hell that means. And three, the customers are being valued, whatever the hell that means.
So look, for all of you thinking that we were fear-mongering about Hollywood getting ready to replace animators and creatives quicker because of the cost, they're basically saying it, right? They're basically, I mean, this is pretty sad. We're at a place right now where Disney, the Walt Disney Company, is so creatively bankrupt, I think, that they have to use AI to come up with better ideas. It's like, come on.
But he's just like saying the creators are respected, but he doesn't clarify what that means. What's the creators being respected mean? That you're not like throwing them overboard for AI? Because I guarantee you're going to. The Walt Disney Company as a whole has not had a lot of, or hasn't had a very good track record of respecting individual creators. Because back in the day, like with the comics, nobody knew who Carl Barks was because he wasn't allowed to sign his name to the Duck comics. Everybody thought Walt Disney himself did everything. Yeah, and they're surprised to know that's not the case. They were back then. Now it's not the case because one, Disney's dead, and two, it's too much. Stuff's too big, and that's part of their problem is they're too big. And then he used a question that they picked because they pick these questions and pre-record them, so they choose them so they can answer to try to put down arguments. But this one question was funny because they're going to do, they're going to do Figment. Because someone said, and this gets asked a lot, can tell you for a fact, Figment is one of the most requested things. The fixing journey into imagination with Figment, I'll explain the difference, is one of the most requested things they kept getting asked for. And he said that he's been asked the question about 15 times and about how popular it is with the shareholders, how popular it is with the fans. And he's going to ask the creative teams to make some short video or short show about Figment.
So yeah, they did that actually when Epcot first opened. They had educational films. You can find them on YouTube, but we used to watch them in school. Like I'd never gone to Disney World. I never went to Disney World until I was an adult. I was a Disneyland kid because my parents lived in California, and but we used to watch those Figment shorts in school. So they've done it before, and I can see them putting them in the theater next to the attraction.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, running the shows at the same time because they have that theater there. Yeah, totally could. But Figment, okay, so Figment when it was brought to Epcot, they had a Journey into Imagination, and Journey into Imagination with Figment and Dreamfinder was incredibly popular. Like the lines were long. We didn't have fast passes then, but the lines actually moved faster, and the lines were very long for it. Everybody loved it. The whole top of the building was an interactive playground, better than what they have now. Yeah. And after a while, apparently the story is that there was issues with the track, so they shrunk it down, and they made Journey into Your Imagination, and it excluded Figment. That was the version that excluded Figment. So that was about a year, and people were like, hell no, we want Figment, and they probably want Dreamfinder at the time. So now we got the Journey into Imagination with Figment, because they make sure they put with Figment in the name, and that's the current iteration that stands. But it sucks in comparison to the original.
It was a patch. They basically patched it. And it was, so you want to talk about, okay, so this is like a side tangent here. There's a lot of discussion as to what works to get the attention of Walt Disney in the parks. Mm-hmm. And I do remember the Figment situation. A lot of people went to guest services, and they basically, because you could prove you're a customer. You're actually a customer. It's not, it's one thing to bitch about it online, but if you actually go out of your way to contact Disney through the proper channels, they know you're serious. If you go to guest relations, or you would, I don't know if they had email. This would have been the 90s, so a lot of people didn't have email. But if you call them or whatever, and let them know that you're an actual Disney guest and you're not happy with the Figment ride. I think it only took a year and a half, 2 years until
it was like a year or so, and then they took it down.
Very short-lived. People freaking hated it, and they did that because the change in sponsorship or whatever, and they gave all kinds of cockamamie excuses. Oh, the tracks weren't good, this and that. It's like the sad thing about Journey to Imagination is that could have been the Pirates of the Caribbean of Epcot. It could have been a perennial favorite, and
it was, and they took it down anyway.
The line,
it was always popular. It was incredibly popular, and they changed it, and that lasted for a year, and that's with a Journey into Your Imagination, and that lasted for a year, and then they scrapped that one, and then it became Journey into Imagination with Figment, and that's one we have now, and it's been there. And I can tell you for a fact, it has also been one of the most requested things that they take that shit out and make it back with Figment and Dreamfinder. And that, at least up to 2020, I can tell you that was highly requested. Yeah,
that was and they had Josh Tomorrow was touring it, so people thought the changes were going to come. I think what's going to happen, this is unfortunate truth, I think they are going to turn it into Inside Out, because Inside Out 2 made a lot of money, and then they'll just punt Figment to the theater next door.
I don't know, but if they do that, that's colossally stupid.
But when has Disney made a smart decision in the last 5 years?
I know.
So let's be honest.
The only news we got out of this was Figment, it might be getting a show, and Coco too, because the Alien show was already out there.
That was months ago. They already have a trailer for it. I mean, it's not a full trailer, but it's like
it wasn't new. So the only new information we got was those two things, and people thought we were going to get like talk of Succession, talk about Disney Plus's numbers. I didn't think we'd get Disney Plus's numbers until the investor call for the quarter, because they're doing that fire sale again on Disney Plus and Hulu to the end of the month, to the 30th, for $2.99, which tells me their numbers are shit, and they're trying to get them up before the end of the month.
Yeah, so it was weird because people thought this was going to be this big meeting and it wasn't. And they're saying, oh yeah, they're going to talk about DEI. I'm like, yeah, they basically voted to stay politically biased.
They voted to silence that. Yeah, we're not going to talk about DEI. We're voting against getting rid of these things.
AI, so they're going to double down on AI. I mean, this is like. Just look, nothing is going to change at this company until Bob Iger and his cronies are gone. And I don't even think that it's going to change after that because whoever he brings in is going to have his seal of approval. His stamp
He's
of
supposed to
approval.
be out next year. This is the big investor call. Like they have the quarterly earnings calls.
Right.
But this is the big investor call. If they were going to make a succession announcement, it should have been at this call.
Yeah.
And they did it. And he's supposed to be out next year.
He's never going to leave. He's going to be doing it till he's 90. He's what? Damn near 80?
Till you're 90.
Till he's 90. Yeah. I mean, that's okay. They'll have Robo Iger ready to go, and he'll just like transfer his brain into Robo Iger.
If he could, he would. You know, AI Iger. It's his personality.
Iger. Oh my God, it's AI.
Oh, AI Iger. Yeah, AI Iger.
Well, Iger, does Iger approve? You have to run everything we do. Every decision of the company has to be run through Iger.
But that's what it is now. So technically, you just have like a program that's him in program form, and then it keeps running the company even when he's gone. You know, not Walt, but Iger. So
I was watching the irony in all this, and then we'll wrap it up. But like watching Tron the other week with Pinky Boo, with our daughter, and how they pushed Art Carney's character out. He founded the company, and Encom became this big entity that was run by the MCP. And that's what Disney is now. Like if Walt were still around, if the Disney family were still involved in the Disney company, they'd be relegated to like sweeping floors or something. They'd be given some job just as a token. But
he'd be like, "I invented Mickey Mouse." Okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what they would do. He
would have been long gone by now anyway. But still, it is a thing. So that's a quick overview of the investor call. It was a big nothing burger.
Yeah.
I can't talk about things too long because I have to go watch Snow White now. I got to torture myself with a nothing burger investor call, and now I got to go watch Snow White.
I think this needs to be the thumbnail. This is it. Right here, that face.
Coco
like
too, that face. That's what we're getting. Coco too.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because with Elio, there's a definite campaign to try to get people to go to see the movie, to try to vote with your wallet and say, Disney, we want original films. We don't just want sequels. But the sequels are making billions of dollars, so they're not going to change. They already said they're going to do one original for every 2 sequels. But the sequel, even the originals, they still have to be good. That's the problem. You've done Strange Worlds and stuff like that, but it wasn't good. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right, we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
All right, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.